These are 20 insane facts you didn't know about the NBA. And first up, you definitely didn't know NBA mascots are rich. Filthy rich. According to Sports Business Journal, the Nuggets mascot Rocky the Mountain Lion makes a staggering $625,000 a year. Now that's absurd, but Rocky isn't the only one making bank. Harry the Hawk, the Atlanta Hawks mascot, makes $600,000 a year, whereas the Bulls and Suns mascots make a combined $600,000 per year. For reference, the average WNBA player makes around $120,000 a year. In other words, Rocky the Mountain Lion earns more than 5 times the average WNBA player. Sheesh. But mascots aren't the only ones bringing in the big bucks. So are referees. Not for the reason you may think. Because in 2007, word got out that longtime NBA referee Tim Donaghy was fixing NBA games, causing even the FBI to get involved. That's when Donaghy knew the jig was up. Hence, on August 15, 2007, Donaghy pleaded guilty to 2 federal charges and was sentenced to 15 months in prison. From an NBA referee to an inmate. That's quite a turn of events. But here's the plot twist. What if I told you the tallest and shortest NBA players in history were once on the same team? See, back in 1987, the Washington Bullets were drawing more attention than ever before, and it all revolved around 2 players, 5'3" Muggsy Bogues and 7'7" Manu Bol. For reference, the height between them is almost 2.5 feet. Sometimes, you can't make this stuff up, just like you can't make up what happened in 1999, because if you know anything about Dennis Rodman, you know he's an absolute menace. And upon joining the Dallas Mavericks, he attempted one of the most savage feats yet, requesting jersey number 69. Nice. The only problem? David Stern and the NBA wanted to keep the league family friendly, so instead, Dennis Rodman was forced to add 1 and turn 69 into 70. That said, the damage was done. The Mavericks had already prepared a few 69 jerseys for Rodman's arrival, and rumor has it, it's on full display in Mark Cuban's office. Yet, if anyone deserved to wear number 69, it was Dennis Rodman. After all, he achieved something no player has. He led the NBA in rebounds per game for 7 straight seasons. That's right, from 1991 to 92 through 1997 and 98. Rodman led the league in rebounding every single year. For reference, nobody else has a streak more than 5 seasons. He may have been a character off the court, but there's no denying it. When that ball was in the air, he was unstoppable. But now it's time to stop talking about Dennis Rodman and start getting serious. Because it's already hard enough to make the NBA. Yet, Gerald Green had it even harder. He only has 9 fingers. And as the story goes, Green and his brother were bored one afternoon. Then all of a sudden, they placed a hoop on the top of a door. The goal? Find out who could jump higher. See, there's one thing they failed to take into account: Green's jewelry. Because as a kid, Green often wore his mother's ring as if he won the NBA Finals. So lo and behold, as Green was jumping, tragedy struck. He got the ring and his finger stuck in the door's nail, to which Green was immediately rushed to the hospital, only to get his finger amputated. Dang, dude is tough as nails. Although Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard might be even tougher, these guys leave their blood, sweat, and tears on the court. In fact, there's only 2 active players with more steals than fouls: Butler and Leonard. Not this season, but throughout their entire career. To date, Butler has 1,244 career steals and 1,076 turnovers, whereas Kawhi has 1,085 steals and 1,072 turnovers. Now, that's not easy to do, but neither is number 13. It was a 2012 match between the Raptors and the Lakers. And with only 4.2 seconds left on the clock, the Raptors trailed 92-93. Enough time for one more possession, with the fate of the game on the line. So who did the Raptors sub into the game? Soul Butler. And if you don't know who that is, you're not alone. Up until that point, Butler had played a single minute, but now Butler had a chance to become a hometown hero.
Can the Lakers hang on? Butler, 8, 9, 10, 11. Time, a 5-second count. It's a 5-second count before he got the timeout. The Lakers have the ball.
So much for saving the day. Instead, he became a statistical anomaly, the first ever player to record a turnover without playing a single minute. Not gonna lie, that's hella impressive. On the other hand, Michael Jordan's 1990 performance in the 3-point contest is anything but impressive.
5 racks, 5 balls on a rack. We're underway.
Greg Hodges loved his corner shot. Usually he really gets off to a good start. Jordan missed his first 2, and now he's warmed up, and I think, it gives the fact that this is new competition for him. Greg Hodges hitting 3 corners, including the 2-point ball. Greg Hodges on a roll now, hitting 4 in a row. Greg 5 in a row from the spot. Greg performed here earlier today for some school kids and was on fire at that time. It seems to still be on it right now. 28 seconds remaining. Well, Jordan has really struggled in his first 2 racks, and he's going to have to really vary the next 2 in order to get into it. He has missed almost every one and hasn't gotten a red, white, or blue ball down. It's 15-4. Craig Hodges early on. Well, Craig is still in
up right now. I mean, if he takes this kind of rhythm, he is going to be awfully tough to beat. He loves those corners again. He has 5 seconds to get 3 more shots up. He has not made one now from his left side.
Well, Jordan struggled in.
Sheesh, 5 for 30? Someone call Shaq and Ben Simmons. This is gonna get good. But at least his meltdown came during All-Star Weekend, because in November 1996, the Denver Nuggets led the Utah Jazz 70-34, with only 1 minute remaining in the second half. That's when things started to unravel. Slowly but surely, the Utah Jazz mounted a comeback, led by Karl Malone and Jeff Hornacek. The Jazz outscored the Nuggets 77-33 in the second half to win 107-103. Safe to say, that'll never happen again. Actually, I lied, because over 25 years later, history repeated itself. The good news, it didn't involve the Denver Nuggets. Bad news, it involved the Washington Wizards. See, on January 25, 2022, the Wizards were leading 66-31 against the Clippers late in the second quarter. When the next thing the Clippers knew, fans started to leave the arena. From there on out, they were a team on a mission. Despite not holding the lead in the first 47 minutes and 58 seconds, the Clippers didn't quit. They kept chirping and chipping away until eventually, this happened.
Don't foul. You can't foul here.
Kennard got to watch out. 3 seconds, puts up the shot, hits it, and the foul! Are you kidding me? Kennard to give his team the lead. He does.
Luke Kennard, how do you do? That was incredible. But not as incredible as the 9 insane facts still ahead, because coming in at number 9, we got one of the all-time greats, Kobe Bryant. See, in 2007, the Black Mamba was on a different planet, because prior to March 16th, the Lakers were on a 7-game losing streak. And let's just say, this didn't go over well with Kobe. He was going to do whatever it took to win. However, there was one major obstacle standing in his way: the Portland Trail Blazers. Shot after shot, play after play, the Blazers were right there with them. That's when Kobe said, screw it, I'm subscribing to the channel. Fast forward to the end of the game, and Kobe Bryant has 65 points. But more importantly, the Lakers won 116-111 in overtime. Yet, the Black Mamba wasn't finished. He'd followed this performance by scoring 50 points against the Timberwolves, before scoring 60 points against the Grizzlies, and dropping another 50 against the Hornets. Safe to say, it was a hot streak is an understatement. In just a single week, he recorded more 50-point games than Dwayne Wade did his whole career. Not even LeBron or MJ could do that. Just like LeBron and MJ don't have the best free throw technique, granny style.
I hope so. There it is, underhand. Oh, he makes it. This young man was shooting terrible.
Call me crazy, but mathematical analysis supports the underhand approach. According to a lead researcher from Yale University, if the thrower is capable of controlling the release and angle and speed well, the underarm throw is slightly better for a basketball free throw. But if you don't take his word for it, take Rick Barry's word for it. Barry was the pioneer of the underarm free throw, as well as one of the most effective shooters. And by his retirement in 1980, Barry's free throw percentage of 90% ranked first in NBA history. The only problem? It makes him look like a sissy. However, it's a lot better to look like a sissy than be broke, which for NBA players is easier said than done. 60% of NBA players go broke after 5 years. Among the notable athletes to go broke, 76ers legend Allen Iverson, NBA All-Star Antoine Walker, and defensive superstar Dennis Rodman. Combined, these players blew over $330 million after retirement, which goes to show the rich don't always get richer. Speaking of which, you'll never guess who owns the highest offensive rating in the NBA history. Now, you may think this title belongs to the lethal scorer like Stephen Curry or Nikola Jokic. After all, an offensive rating is the number of points produced by a player per 100 possessions. Yet, this statistic has one glaring problem. It favors low usage and high efficiency big men. So instead, Dwight Powell owns the highest offensive rating in NBA history with 131.1, followed closely behind by Jared Allen and Rudy Gobert. Now, never in a million years did I expect that, but I also didn't expect a correlation between basketball performance and strip clubs. However, recently, someone conducted a scientific study on the league's biggest strip club addict, James Harden. I mean, this dude once spent so much money at a strip club, his jersey is in the rafters. Yeah, my man loves to party, but what he didn't realize was the effect it had on his game. James Harden's best performance comes in a city with the worst strip club, Toronto. Meanwhile, his worst performance comes in the city with the best strip club, Miami. Lesson learned. If you want to beat the Sixers, just invite James Harden to a strip club. But while James Harden will be remembered for partying, Michael Jordan's name will always be synonymous with his shoes. Yet that wasn't always the case. When the iconic red and black high-top Jordan 1 debuted in 1984, not everyone was a fan. In fact, the NBA rulebook stated that each player must wear shoes that not only match their uniform, but match the shoes worn by their teammates. Dang, who put Karen in charge of the league's uniform rules? But all jokes aside, the rule calls influenced MJ big time. Whenever he wore those kicks on the court, he was fined $5,000, which may not seem like a big deal, but for young MJ, it was. So instead, Nike stepped in and agreed to pay all the fines. It wasn't until the 2000s that the rule was finally lifted. Better late than never. Which reminds me, we still have 3 facts left to reveal. And trust me, these facts will blow your mind. Because at number 3, it's the time Cal Bowler picked up 7 fouls in a single game, which is strange, considering the NBA only allows up to 6 fouls per game. However, in a 1999 game between the Hawks and the Trailblazers, the referees forgot to count, because within 15 minutes of playing time, Bowler already had picked up his 6th foul. The referees mistakenly let him keep playing. It wasn't until his 7th foul that the refs realized they had made a big mistake, a mistake that will go down forever in NBA history. But now let's transition from a massive blunder to an ancient artifact, Vince Carter. Because there's been a lot of players in the NBA's 76-year existence, but only one player that has played in 4 different decades, Vince Carter. An 8-time All-Star, Carter played 22 seasons spanning 1998 to 2020. In other words, he played in the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s. For reference, over the time period, he played against 12 different father-son duos. There can only be one possible explanation. My man ages better than wine. That said, wine doesn't have anything to do with our final fact. Now, we all know how great Michael Jordan is. To put it simply, you can't have a GOAT debate without bringing his name up. However, there is one stat from MJ's career that bests them all. It's not his 6 championships, his 5 MVP awards, or even his 10 scoring titles. Instead, it's this. From 1990 to 1998, barring the 2 years MJ played baseball, his Chicago Bulls never lost 3 games in a row. Now, if there's one thing MJ should be remembered for, it's his resilience. This dude was unfazed. Win or lose, you can always depend on Jordan. But do you know what NBA players can depend on? Baddies. Whether it's the Kardashian sisters, Marvel actresses, or even Grammy Award-winning singers, there's no denying it. NBA players are at their best when there's baddies around. So what are you waiting for? Click the video.